on the information I've received regarding this JKIA heist. And one of the key info that I received was about a company by the name ALG Consulting Group. So ALG is a company contracted by KIA. And as you know, consulting groups are basically companies that are contracted by organizations to help them in deal making and things like this, just to conduct maybe feasibility study. So ALG came in and was actually paid in advance 160 million. I posted on my timeline, if you go and you will see. So they were paid 160 million in advance so that they can fast track this deal. But ALG, in their submissions and in the documents I have seen, also in their informal communications that I was able to see, they were saying there's so many red flags in this project. They don't understand why KA would still go ahead with it. And one of the red flags is so there's a report called the CSIA report. And in this CSIA report, Adani wants the Kenyan government, and I will read what they actually wrote to the Kenyan government, to KAA. They say the concessionaire will carry out social impact assessment. Concessionaire is basically the Kenyan government through KAA. They will conduct an social impact assessment and due diligence on the project area and conduct consultation with the affected people before commencement of the project to reduce social impacts and risk of opposition. So they were already aware that there will be some kind of public uproar. They go on to say that the contracting authority, in conjunction with other government agencies, will be responsible for mitigating and managing any public opposition, protester actions, and associated site risks. So they were very much aware of what they were doing, and they had anticipated that when this thing goes public, that it's gonna cause some kind of unrest, and they were warning the government that when this comes up, they need to be ready to deal with, this kind of unrest. But what they did not anticipate is that it will be before they conclude the deal. So this is what they never anticipated. So let me go back to ALG. ALG raised another red flag. They said that the capex refund that Adani Group wants after 30 years, they want basically a refund of the $2 billion. So in the previous documents that I had gotten, they were saying that they need about $1.8 billion to run the project. But after I saw other documents that said they needed $2 billion now to run this project. And you need to understand that they're all talking about IRR. IRR means internal rate of return. So basically, they're saying in 30 years, they will require their capex amount back with IRR. So meaning in 30 years, 2 billion now will be probably equivalent, will not be $2 billion, which we are seeing now. It will be more than this. And also, the ALG group raised another red flag. They were saying how can Adani Group ask for 18% equity on this project for JKIA. And they also said that on normal circumstances, people charge maybe 8 to 15%. Actually, it's 21%, but in the report, they had toned it down to 18%. So it doesn't really make sense why Adani would say they want 18% of JKIA after 30 years. Basically, in normal circumstances, it's either between 8 to 15% equity based on the negotiations. And the last thing I want to say is that in the ALG final report, the feasibility report, they raised a major issue on the procurement process. And I will just read what they highlighted. ALG Consulting, it's a consulting firm from Spain. It's a Spanish consulting firm that was procured. They gave this job by KAA, and that job was basically to become the transaction advisor But in the process, they saw major red flags in this project. But because of the interest they have with the money, they don't want to lose the project. It's been KIA has been their client for so long, since I think 2019. They've been making their Kenya aviation policies. They didn't want to lose this, obviously, so they just played by the tune. But I saw some communications where they were trying to advise the team to tone down on like the wordings of these red flags, so that they don't look like very serious red flags, but they're super serious red flags. And the team was actually obviously asking themselves why KA would actually go ahead with this project that has serious flaws. So before I was cut short, I wanted to read one of these red flags, and just to read verbatim of what they said in this report. In accordance with international best practice, we recommend using the competitive bidding procedure, which, through open competition, is the most likely to maximize the value for money for the contracting authority. We are not aware of circumstances which could allow KAA to procure the project through restricted bidding or direct procurement. Likewise, we are not aware of any privately initiated proposal for the project, and generally we do not advise to use such methods, as they deprive the contracting authority from fully benefiting from the competitive pressure, and/or can exclude bidders which have not been pre-selected by the contracting authority but would have met the qualification criteria to participate to an open bidding process. And last Sunday, I said in this space that there was two people who are interested, two companies, one from Singapore, one from Qatar, and we saw the work that these companies did in, for example, in Qatar. They have a beautiful airport. Singapore has one of the best airports in the world, but we wonder why they would go for a company in India which has questionable integrity. And that, if you read the reports, the Adani Group has coal mining rights in Australia, and they have quote unquote a green climate company in India, which they use to greenwash. And their stocks basically go high because they're selling carbon credits, they're following all this net zero, blah, blah, blah. And then they use this company to get loans to fund the coal companies. So basically, this is a very crooked company. It doesn't make sense that they leave companies from Singapore and Qatar to go to India, to one of the most corrupt companies in India. This company has multiple court cases in India, and the cases are like money laundering. If you remember, maybe most of you do not know, but the Goldenberg saga, the scandal, the way it was executed was they would forge import-export gold certificates, and then they would go to the Ministry of Mining, and they would get 30% of the value of these import-export certificates. That's how they stole, I don't know, $1 billion from Kenya. It's the same thing Adani is being accused of in India. So basically, this company is like, you can imagine Goldenberg. Now imagine Adani is doing something like Goldenberg in India, and they're being charged in court. The only reason why they're not being jailed or what is because the owner of Adani is best friends with the PM, Narendra Modi. This is the only reason why this case is, oh yeah, they're there. India, by the way, is exactly like Kenya: corrupt officials, corrupt government officials, the judiciary system is corrupt, all these things. And this is how Adani is able to thrive. Now you can imagine Adani with all these crooked ways, they're coming to Kenya. So basically, they're using JKIA just as wanaingiza tu kichwa. And then what next? They will take over our transport system. They will take over our energy sector. They've already done some deals with former the CS Churchill, and now they want to do it with KAA. They will probably do it with our Mombasa port, because they did it in Tanzania, the port of Dar es Salaam. They have a 30-year concession. So this is why we need to occupy JKIA as a matter of urgency. It's not a joke. It's something so serious. We need to take it, the way we took finance bill so seriously. This is it. We need to take it as serious as the finance bill. Nothing less, because they are coming to devour our entire country. They're going to just sleep slowly, and you will hear, oh, Adani is building railway. I don't know where Adani is building what, this road. And mind you, they are in, I don't know, $50 billion debt. They don't have the money to fund this project. I forgot to mention that 53% of this project will be funded by the taxpayer. So why is this a PPP project? And 14% will be funded by investors, then the rest will be funded by a loan. They're asking KAA to transfer this property where the airport is, the title deed, to Adani. So basically, Adani will own the airport with a title deed for 30 years. And the reason is they want to use the title deed to take loans for this project. So this is something that we can do. Why are they being given this project? Then we can take a loan with our own title deed. So it doesn't make sense, this project, at all. It's just a way of some officials in government to steal money and to secure their future and their children's future forever. And we need to say no to this.